What's good, people? Back at it again. Patreon exclusive. Hoteps been told you. A lot of people asked for this. So we are here to give the people what they asked for and what they need. We are excited to present uh, the infamous, the honorable young Pharoah to the platform. Thank him for joining us. Young Pharoah, man, tell us what's going on, man. How you been?
I've been good. I mean, got me feeling like I'm a judge coming on here, the honorable. But I've been good. I've been very controversial as always. Spicing it up a little bit. Managed to get kicked out of CPAC, badge. Put me on CNN, the late night show, badge. So I've been doing really good, man. I appreciate you guys bringing me back over here to this side of the YouTube streets. Patreon streets. And as I was saying before we got started, I'm really appreciative of you guys. Nothing but love to this platform. You guys showed me nothing but love since day one. Very authentic as well. I appreciate that. And got a lot going on. Got a lot of CEO things going on, a lot of nationhood things going on, a lot of grand rising things going on, a lot of ancestral things going on. And the goal is to restore the throne to our people. So I'm gonna be very excited about the dialogues we get into today and expressing, some of those goals.
I-10 University has just launched.
Yes, sir.
It's a very exciting platform to see. What kind of information can people get from there? Are you the only instructor? Tell me about that experience.
Okay, so beautiful question. I got to give people the history. Before it was I-10 University, officially it was youngpharaoh.net. So I have been an independent researcher / librarian / scholar for the last 5 years publicly. I've been doing this before the public, but publicly 5 years. I started my own online university, and I started with what I had and what I could afford, which was a regular website, Podia, GoDaddy, regular stuff. And it was my URL was youngpharaoh.net. But I have been planning to go into this direction for some years now, due to the sciences and teachings of not just Egypt, but the science of the sun. And so now that I'm in a position to upgrade, I have upgraded and, basically publicly presented myself the way I've always wanted to in my mind, now that I can afford to do so, which is in I-10 form. And now we have I-10 University. I-10 University is the world's leading university in intelligence and creativity. I stand on that. Anybody who has a problem with that, I have a debate league where I put $50K on myself, and you're welcome to come try your luck. Now, I-10 University is basically the literal study of the universe the way that university should be. So we know that school comes from the word skule, which means to hold back. And most colleges and schools hold back your psyche by holding back information. And they only teach you to become basically a slave, AKA an employee or someone that works for somebody. They don't teach you to be a free thinker or a builder of your own reality, your own, construct. What I-10 University does is we teach everything. Anything you can think of, we on it. I have 5 years worth of content publicly, plus years worth of content before anybody knew who I was. So with that being said, we are going in every area from, first, let me say this. Before I go into the stuff people want to hear, I want to let everybody know we offer people the basic necessities that you're going to need, which is business and business, math, writing, how to write a proper paragraph, how to write a book. I'm going to be teaching classes on how to construct a book. So, I'm a big believer in not taking advice from anybody who I don't see taking their own advice. And the reason I'm giving that up is because a lot of people will look at me and say, well, why should we listen to this guy? Well, because I'm a successful CEO businessman and I'm independent and I do everything myself. So why would you not? That would be stupid. So I'm going to do marketing classes, teaching people how to market their own selves, how to brand themselves, how to create their own businesses. What is the difference between corporations? What is the difference between an S Corp or C Corp? What are the tax breaks? What are the differences between LLCs? How to structure your corporation? How to make just basically everything you need to know about being a legitimate businessman. I got an LLC and I'm talking about a legitimate businessman. How to do your taxes, If you don't want to do them yourself, who to hire, how to hire them. And then I'm going to do an independent lecture on what I call the attorney hierarchy. What all forms of attorneys are there? Because as Black people, we are very familiar with criminal attorneys, but we're not familiar with trademark attorneys, copyright attorneys, patent attorneys, all of these other forms of attorneys who can protect our businesses. And this is why we are not successful, because look at me, I'm the most slandered person on the internet. I'm the most attacked person on the internet, but I'm protected because my attorney will dig in your chest. And so what people need to realize is you have to protect your brand and your brand name, and you have to protect your business. And you know that your business is the vehicle that's going to carry your mind across the world. And if you don't have that set up properly, just like any other vehicle, how far you think you're going to drive with no gas and no tires and no doors on your car? You're not going to go that far. So I'm going to teach people the essentials of how to operate in the business world. I got a presentation coming out on the law, how to actually interact with the law. Now, a lot of people might say, well, you know, once again, why should we listen to this guy? Well, I'm not an attorney. I was going to become an attorney, but I decided not to because, honest answer, I told myself if I become attorney, I probably won't live that long because I'll be beating too many cases and I'll be challenging the system too much and they'll probably knock me off. I wasn't a YouTuber at the time. I had no public attention on me, so I really had no way to legitimately protect myself in the public eye from the powers that be. So I had to actually skip being an attorney. If it wasn't for that epiphany, I probably would be an attorney right now. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm very, I'm not gonna act like I'm Johnny Cochran, but I know what I'm talking about. I fought my case pro se. Any New York State, specifically Buffalo, New York, a district attorney, judge, or lawyer will tell you I put in pro se motions. I got my verdict set aside 2 weeks after being convicted guilty at a trial for criminal possession of a weapon in second degree, which was a false charge. I had 13 grounds on my 330-30 motion, which is a motion to vacate the verdict. One being that the judge's verdict was repugnant and all my grounds stuck. And the only reason I lost the motion is because my lawyer sold me out and he told me he submitted something that he never submitted, which I have that call recorded from May 14, 2014. And I'm still pursuing this issue and I am still seeking justice on this issue. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because I know how to move around a courtroom. I had a friend who I was in jail with. He caught a gun case. I went to law library, got him up some case law. He beat it, went home. He came back. I got him more case law. He went home a second time, beat it. Third time, he had to go to jail because I told him, I'm not nobody's flunky and I'm not going to keep going to the law library for you. But long story short, I helped a lot of people out. Anybody in Buffalo who was in jail with me at the time will confirm that is the law librarian guy. That is the guy. I'm the one in the jail writing all the grievances and I'm writing people up. And just picture my personality in the prison. That's all you got to do. I'm writing your ass up or whatever you want to do. So I'm that guy. I'm the law library guy. And I'm going to teach a course on A to Z, how to deal with law enforcement all the way from, I don't care if it's the CIA, how to deal with local law enforcement all the way up to the CIA, what your rights actually are. You don't have to speak to anybody. Some states mandate that you have to give your name and license, but that's it. They can say, what's your name? Here you go. Driver's license. If you're operating a motor vehicle, by any other questions, it's over. You can sit there like this. You can sit there, and if they put their hands on you, it's a lawsuit, straight up. And so with that being said, we need to know the constitutional laws, not just what they mean, but how they apply in the court. For example, your right to due process. We don't really know what that means. We just know we got a right to due process. But what is due process? Due process is a lot of things. Right to be at the grand jury, speedy trial, right to life, right to live. It's a lot of things that's in that one little line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the Constitution and show people the case law. So you don't even got to look it up. All you have to do is screenshot. Show you the case law that backs up the Constitution. And then I'm going to take people through scenarios where I show, okay, the police pull you over. Here's what you do. If you do get arrested and you in the detectives or you at the station, here's what you do. If unfortunately you make it to the precinct, to the holding center, your local holding center, here's what you do. If you in your cell and you having problems with the facility or whatever, here's who you write. Correctional officers have internal affairs, or some of them have their own specific one called correctional internal affairs. Also, Department of Justice. So I'm gonna show people how to deal with police, how to deal with correctional officers, how to make a grievance, how to make a copy of your grievance before you send it out so it don't get lost, how to send legal mail if you in jail. And then I'm gonna take people through the courtroom scenario. When you get arrested at arraignment, let it be known on the record that you wish to appear before the grand jury if the district attorney wishes to seek an indictment. The district attorney is obligated to enforce the Sixth Amendment, which is your right to confront your accusers. The police are nothing more but state actors. They're witnesses on behalf of the state. If they accuse you of a crime, you have a right to go to the grand jury and speak on your own behalf. Most people don't realize that. Most people don't realize that an indictment can automatically be deemed defective if the district attorney did not offer you the chance to speak. I'm dealing with this as well. And the district attorney has to actually keep a copy of the receipt that he sends to you through the mail showing that he afforded you the opportunity to defend yourself. So most people that's upstate or going through a case right now can get that thrown out if they simply just go to court and say, I wasn't afforded the opportunity to represent myself at the grand jury. And if the district attorney doesn't say, yes, he was, here's the proof, case dismissed. So right at the grand jury, you can get it thrown in the garbage, period. Then we want to teach people about the fruit of the poisonous tree. The police cannot do what they want to do despite their intimidation tactics. I don't care if the police find 10 pistols in your house. If they do not have a warrant to search your property, it is called fruit of the poisonous tree. They have to throw it out. This is case law. Also, people need to realize levels of intrusion. A cavity search, which most people falsely believe is when the police put their hands in your anal cavity, is not the only level of a cavity search. If the police put their hand in any hole on your attire, it is a cavity. So that's a pocket or whatever. There are levels to intrusion. There's observatory. That's level 1, where the police can watch you. Level 2 is where they can verbally speak to you. You can ignore both of these. Level 3 is where you can consent. Keyword is consent to a pat search. That's where they pat you. And even if they feel like they feel an object on you that could be a weapon, you still have permission to tell them, I don't want this to go any further than that. Because suspicion is not probable cause. And suspicion is not applicable for a legal search and seizure, your Fourth Amendment. So if you a construction worker and you literally got a tool in your pocket and you coming home from work and the police say, hey, where you going? If you say, I consent to a pat search, that's it. If they pat you and they feel a wrench, they can't just tackle you because they thought it was a pistol. So unless they have a warrant or you give them permission, they shouldn't even be in your pockets. They shouldn't even be there. That's level 4 intrusion. That's the last level. That's the highest level of intrusion on your person. So I don't think people really realize that you are your own property. And we're not looking at the law from an actual conscious perspective, which it is wrote. My body is my property. My mind is my property. The Constitution ensures that you cannot violate my property. So most people so caught up on the police walking in their house and going in their car, you're not even worried about them touching you. And so we want to talk about those things and show the case law. And then I want to take people through court, as I was saying, how to file the motion, which motions to file, how to relieve yourself of counsel, which motion do you get to fire your attorney? Can you write your attorney up? Yes, you can. I wrote mine up. Can you write your judge up? Yes, you can. I wrote mine up. All of these people have people that they have to answer to. All of these people in the courtroom have to answer to the Bar Association. And if you feel that there's any judicial or prosecutorial misconduct in the courtroom, you can write their ass up, including the district attorney. And I want to say this before I get too long and then to save some more for the presentation. Save the details for the presentation. The district attorney is an attorney. Let's be clear on that. He or she is not just a prosecutor. So really you have 2 attorneys in the courtroom and you got 1 judge. So the way that we all watch Law and Order and we see these people be guilty, but what do we see? We see the district attorney say, we don't have enough evidence to prosecute, even though we know on the show this person is guilty. That is how district attorneys are actually supposed to operate. They have an attorney code of ethics that they took an oath to follow. The district attorney is not only supposed to pursue guilt, but in the interest of justice, he or she is supposed to provide exculpatory evidence. Exculpatory evidence by legal definition is any evidence that would point to the innocence of the accused. So if a district attorney has any evidence that is either present or could be made present that would deem you innocent, they have an ethical oath to present that. And if they do not do that, and they are maliciously pursuing a prosecution for somebody who 9 times out of 10 is innocent or not guilty of the specific charge, because the charge might be too high, because we know how the police go, they love overcharging people, then that is called prosecutorial maliciousness. And prosecutorial misconduct, and you can pursue them legally for that. So we need to teach people the law and teach people how to take the law into their own goddamn hands, like they should be doing on that paperwork with that pen, and teach people how to walk into that courtroom and hold themselves down all the way. And I'm gonna give an entire presentation on that. And then after that, I would feel like I did my I did my service and my due diligence to the people of this country, because we're going through some corrupt things. So, everybody needs to know how to protect themselves in the courtroom, because we see what we're going through. We're going through setup times. And after I give that presentation, then we can get into extraterrestrial DNA giants and portals and all that crazy stuff. But, and I feel like people need the fabrics of how to operate within the matrix before we get out of the matrix and start talking about reality.
Yeah.
Hey, young Pharoah, I had a stream earlier and asking people what they should ask you. You mentioned, your university and being a librarian. Do you have a process for, and obviously you're a well-read individual, but you also know that, some books are meant for disinformation. Do you have a process? What is your process for vetting books and vetting information that you use to give out to the public?
That's a beautiful question. You research the author. You research the intentions of the author. You research the history of the author. You research the publishing company. And just like doing a background check on anybody, it's going to show you the truth. For example, if I see a book and it's written by somebody who works for Hillary Clinton, we're going to keep that on the shelf. That's just right on the shelf. We don't want nothing to do with that. But if I see a book and it says, okay, this guy was an ex-Marine or an ex-CIA and he's been in trouble with the law a couple times behind this book, you might want to read that book. And so, basically do a background check on the author. If they've gotten in trouble for writing that book, you should read it. If they are connected to people who are causing trouble, it could be disinformation. So I feel like the way that we vet the validity of books is, for one, we come behind the book and fact check it ourselves, for one. But then for two, we always check the author's intentions for writing the book. We know the guy who wrote Behold the Pale White Horse intentions is totally different than Barack Obama and them writing their book. So, that's what I would like to say. I like to read books that are written by people who are renegades, people who stick their neck out, and people who openly let it be known that I'm risking my life to write this literature. Those are the people that I feel are authentic. If not, I would say, people write books every day. So I'm not saying the newer the books are, the worse. But I would say you treat it just like movies. We all know the older the movies, the better. We know they don't make you can't just make another Jason's lyric. You know what I'm saying? You ain't just gonna make another Jason's lyric. So we know the more classic the movie, the better the content. So when you start getting books from like 1917, 1922, 1933, now we talking. And so, a lot of my books that I got, they don't really look, I ain't gonna say a lot, but some of them that I have that are critical, they don't really look new age. You can clearly tell they're old. Like I got medical books over here I got one book over here from 1917, and it looks old, but the information in there show you how to cure 75% of chronic. I got one book over here that a doctor wrote. He cured diseases and then wrote the recipe in the book for you to copy it yourself, in the book from like 1930. So, but you will walk past it in the library because it doesn't look attractive. So I feel like people need to realize when we talking about vetting books, to answer Uncle Hotep, literally, I just keep it in my mind. Don't judge a book by its cover. Judge the author by their intent and their background. And that is how I feel like, that is how I come to my conclusions of, is this an authentic piece of literature or not?
How much is I-10 University to attend? Is it per course? Is it a member? Is it monthly? How does that work?
I-10 University right now, and I'm saying right now because we going up in, what is it? It's like March, April, May. May 1st, I'm going up. And I'm going up because, to be honest, I'm selling myself short. The amount of pressure that I'm creating for myself in the world, which is fine because I'm creating for myself, but the amount of pressure and negative attention that I'm getting, on top of the fact I don't make any money off social media as much as I am on here, is basically making me work for free. You know, anybody who knows me knows I don't make any money off social media. I just literally come on here all the time. And it's to the point where I'm selling myself short, and I just can't sell myself short like that. So right now, iUniversity is a little under $20 a month.
Really?
And the price, yes, it's under $20 a month. And I'm giving information out that you got to pay $100,000 scholarships to go to colleges for, and I'm giving it to you.
I'm about to sign up right now. What's the website?
iUniversity.com. And so it's a little under $20, and I'm not going to go crazy on the price and hike the price. I'm going to go up just a little bit. But, you know, my thing is with the general public is, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, you up in the price and you up to what? First of all, I gotta assert my value because nobody else is going to.
You got
But outside of asserting my value, I got 3 kids, and I can't be out here, you know, selling myself short and being more loyal to the public than I am to my household. Also, I'm sticking my neck out. What I do literally puts my life on the line, and I have to assert my value. So with that being said, I wanted to answer that clearly. I didn't want somebody to see this video 3 months from now and then go there and the price ain't the same. So I just wanted to be clear. You know, the price right now is a little under $20. When I give these next presentations, I'm gonna keep the price there, and then by the time April or May come, I'm gonna up my price, and then we're gonna rock out from there.
Hey, you said you're taxed, your life is on the line. Somebody had sent in the comments on the stream I had done. You know, they wonder, how do you revitalize your inner strength? You know, because some people get attacked every day, and you know it can wear on you. You know, if some people can't deal with a lot of criticism, like you, this past couple weeks, you've been in the news, you've been on the websites, and some of the stuff hasn't been, basically slander, you know what I mean? So how do you deal with that as an individual? How do you shrug that off? And, you know, you still have this energy to come on here and talk and give your side of things and get your message out. How do you revitalize your inner strength every day?
Well, you know, evil what devil worshiper would do. And so with that being said, it don't really drain my energy because I expect it. It's 2 things, you know. I lived a hardcore life. Hardcore. All the way hardcore. Criticism is, you know what I'm saying? I did 3.5 years in a prison. So criticism is like, this is easy to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm from where this is easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just spent 3.5 years where if we don't like you, we're going to talk about you in your cell all day. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to sit in my cell and just, nigga, if you come to the yard, I'm going to chop your all day. And not only is this criticism, it's backed by violence. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm built for this. But outside of that, I expect it. I feel like most people can't take things because they don't expect it. I don't expect white people to be my friend. I'm actually surprised when they are. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm blaming all white people, but I'm just real. When I see a white person, I automatically expect for you to somewhere in your mind look down on me. I don't expect you to give me a fair shot. I don't expect you to respect my history. I don't expect you to see me as the God I expect you to see me as somebody that you enslaved, think that you conquer, and think that you got one up on. That's what I expect. So whenever I rattle the establishment and, you know, they try to do me like they did the other day, for me, really, I was thinking, damn, took y'all long enough, took you long enough. So it doesn't really affect me because I expect it. And I feel like you only get your heart, bro. Let me give people an example, right? For all the men watching this, the female that you feel like is the loose female, when you hear that she slept with your homeboy, you know, it doesn't affect you because you was expecting that. You knew that already. But the one that you thought was wifey and the one that you thought was the rider, that's who broke your heart because you wasn't expecting that. So I feel like when it comes to criticism is nothing more than a form of behavior. And we only get hurt by behavior we don't expect from somebody. So when I look at white people, no disrespect, feel free to prove me wrong. When I look at white people, I expect negative behavior in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So when they give it to me, it doesn't surprise me because I already knew that's how you was coming anyway, because your success is predicated upon you trying to lie to me or trick me out of me doing for myself and being dependent upon you. So everything they did in the news really just did me a favor. And it really just took my name across communities faster than I could have took it myself. So honestly, by trying to destroy me, they helped just create me on a bigger platform. And I invite anybody from CNN or any of the professionals to go get a book and meet me in my debate league and back up what they're talking about. If not, you know, the next time you run my name across CNN, run it with some respect. Don't call me a rapper. I'm not a rapper. Call me the prophet that I am. Call me the CEO that I am, and call me the feared one that I am. And that's pretty much how I deal with it. I don't deal with it because I expect it.
I want to talk CPAC.
Yes,
CPAC
sir.
is going on right now. Did you expect when you well, first of all, did you know what CPAC was?
No.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
I didn't know what CPAC was. But you know, that's what also made it funny to me as well, because it's like, you know, they must have thought that was, you know, the way that they did it was kind of like, you know, when your parents say, I'm taking everybody to the park, but you on punishment. And it's like, damn, I wanted to go to the park. Like, I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know what this was. I seen this as an opportunity to speak to the American people about what's going on in this country right now with communist China, Israel, the people we can't speak on, the J and the S people, you know what I'm saying? And all of the other issues with big tech. And I think that as an opportunity to do my due diligence as a person in this country on behalf of this country. And it happened so fast, honestly, I can't even say that whether I expected it or not, because literally, I was invited and disinvited. Yo, I didn't even have time to post it on social media. It all happened in like probably the same day. So I couldn't even prepare myself to make a video and be like, listen, everybody, I'm gonna be at CPAC. That didn't even happen. It was like, hey, we want you here. And then it was like, no. But I feel like it was a setup though, because let me make a time up. This is not an accurate time. Hypothetically speaking, let's say they invited me at 1 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, I was disinvited. At 4:10, I was everywhere. So I'm like, damn, how y'all got all these articles out about me and you got me everywhere, and you just disinvited me. So the only logical way would be y'all already had all of that ready to go, and you disinvited me and then opened the floodgates. Because soon as I was informed that I was disinvited, and soon as CPAC made the post, here came the mainstream media. So I'm like, it was a setup. Y'all tried to slander my name, but you know what I'm saying?
I saw that. I saw the one article by the right-wing watch group, and they had a whole history on you. You right. How they pull that together so fast?
In 10 minutes. Literally, it was in a 15-minute window. You couldn't, and the tweets was from a year ago or more. I'm not saying I don't stand on them, but you didn't go back and pull out multiple tweets ago from a year and a half in 15 minutes and create a web page and construct it. And you didn't do that in 15 minutes. They was already, it was a setup. And that was Media Matters, by the way, who was funded by George Soros, who is going to be one of the entities that I was speaking on. I want to say this too before I pass it back. I'm not going to throw no names out because I ain't never told on nobody. But the entity that I was speaking with, who informed me that I was getting disinvited, called back and offered them a chance to, and I didn't even tell them to do it. They just did it because they felt like it was a logical thing to do. But they called back and was like, listen, if this man's saying he don't believe in the validity of Judaism, that's not really offensive. That's his own mind speaking. And they was like, well, why don't you have a rabbi or somebody come out maybe the day before and, we can dialogue. It would have been a good dialogue. They declined that and was like, no, you're out of here. So they didn't even give me a chance. So I don't want nobody to say they were offered the chance to allow me to express myself, and they did not. And then it came down to them telling him that the donors are Jewish and the donors don't want me there. So I'm just I'm dropping this bomb on y'all channel so people can know these people who we're not allowed to speak about are financially strong arming people out of their freedom of speech by being the financial backers of these events. And by them being the ones to financially construct these events, they are forcing the event hosts to say, we don't want you here because the event won't even go on if we don't listen. So I'm showing y'all right now the puppet master and the puppets. And if don't nobody believe this is real, I literally just went through this and was told to my face, it was the Jewish donors who got me knocked off, which means it also was the Jewish donors who tried to set me up and have mainstream media blast me, which proves the Jews are controlling mainstream media. But I would just leave it at that and let people, take it as they want to.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to follow. I when it all went down, you say it smelled funny, and but that's what it seems like to me, because it didn't add up. If they have the hit pieces already ready to go, then they had all this all planned, but that means I would think the invitation to you was planned. It seemed like they needed an evil bogeyman, and they picked you to be that. Do you think that's how it is?
No, I feel like it was a classic case of how they've been trying to destroy us for thousands of years, which is to set our appearance on the stage for us before we actually appear. For example, if I got a theater and everybody in the theater is waiting for you to come out, if I go out on the stage and I say, for the next act, here comes, let's say something you don't stand for. I don't want to offend a particular community, but let's say as a heterosexual black man, I don't really agree with homosexuality. No offense to nobody. So if I'm getting ready to come on the stage and somebody says, here comes hot chocolate homosexual young Pharoah, but I don't know that they saying that, and then they say come into the stage, and then I walk out, I think that I'm finna come out here and give a lecture, and the crowd is like, oh, he's a homosexual. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they get you. And this is why it's important for you to have your own voice, because that's what these people do. You cannot let somebody else set the stage for you. And that's what I felt like they tried to do. They tried to make it seem like, okay, we can't stop this guy. This guy is going mainstream on his own. He's the most successful black YouTuber that we probably ever seen. I'm touching mainstream on my own off of YouTube by myself with no team. So I felt like what they did was, to the mainstream audience who may not have got a whiff of me yet, they wanted to already set the stage for me. So now when people see me, they'll say, oh, we're not paying no attention to that guy because he's the Jew hater. Mind you, I haven't talked about the Jews in a year and a half. Now you got me back on them, but I wasn't even on them. We over here talking about business, law, giants, DNA. We on a whole nother frequency. So that's what I felt like they tried to do. And I'm glad they did it to me, because my don't give a F level is so high. You know what I'm saying? It didn't affect me. It didn't break me the way it would have did somebody else. And I was able to show people off my experience, this is what you expect from mainstream platforms when you don't jigaboo jump around or, basically sell your soul. And what they did was they just showed the world that you are making people sell their soul, and you are making people step outside their character in order to be successful. And you are making people uphold beliefs and principles that are not reflective of their own families and households and cultural traditions in order to keep yourself in power. And so, I've been trying to tell people that the establishment is an octopus with many arms, and they just proved me right. And so I'm glad that they did it, because they was talking about me on Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Cole, whatever his name is. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, y'all got the right one, because when I get on this level, I don't avoid confrontation. So all you did was help me out, because I debate for a living. So y'all want to argue about something? You got the right one. So, it is what it is at this point with these platforms. We need our own, which is why I'm also starting my own news network. By the way, y'all stay on point for that, because we will be hiring some news anchors in the future, and we coming with them real receipts. Yes, we are.
CPAC is basically the Republican event. And I want to
Yes,
know
sir.
what you were going to say on that stage, because that audience, like when I first saw the flyer, it said Young Pharoah at CPAC, and my brain was like malfunction. I'm like, yo, there's no way Young Pharoah should be a CPAC. That don't make no sense. They not ready for that level of nigga. You know what I mean? I'm just like, that don't make no sense. Cause it's just like, this is the GOP uppity, white, ready to sell out, shady motherfuckers. So I'm thinking to myself, what the hell was Pharoah gonna say on that stage to these people? What was your presentation gonna be like?
Listen, the questions here tonight is in alignment with greatness. Don't quote me on this, but
Okay.
the title, the topic that I was going to speak on that they already had for me was like, hold your point, missed opportunities and dysfunction or something like that in the Black community. So I was actually going up there to do what I do best, which is represent the Black community. Nothing about the Jews, wasn't even thinking about the Jews. I was just going up there to speak about dysfunction and missed opportunities in the Black community. And what I was personally going to speak about was how Black intellects are being censored today by big tech, how YouTube and all of these people are keeping our views low, hiding our pages, and making it hard for us to be successful independently. I was going to speak about how it's literally impossible for us to get a bank loan. And I was also going to speak about how this infrastructure of the community needs to change, and how I'm willing to usher it in myself, but if I'm not, how it could be ushered in so somebody else can do it. And I was going to speak about how entities from outside our community coming in with the false representation of helping us, but then taking our money and resources and not giving it back is why we are dysfunctional. Because we have Chinese people, Koreans, Arabs, and all of these races with stores in our community. And they're literally, it's like ciphering the gas out of your car. They're ciphering the dollar out the community, but it's not coming back. And I was going to stress the importance of Black-owned infrastructure, not just business, infrastructure. We need to be the ones building and working on our own houses. We need to be the ones creating our own technology. We need to be the ones running our own banks. We need to be the ones growing and selling our own food. And I was basically going to speak to that, not just in terms of economics, but in terms to respect, because nobody don't respect, no adult, I don't care what race you are, no adult respects another adult who is not self-sufficient. I don't care what you say, I could not come to one of y'all house and eat y'all food every day and not put something back in that fridge. I don't care. We cool as hell, but I know that my time limit is going to get to here and you're going to say, hey, Pharoah, nigga, it's been about 3 days, nigga, where your girl or something, because you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Up that wall. That's just principle. So I was going to speak to that and be like, listen, the country looks down on us because y'all are under the misunderstanding that we cannot do for ourselves. And it's what's called the white man's burden. And all of these white people in this country is looking at us like they got to carry us on their back. They got to teach our kids. They got to get our criminals. They got to protect our women. And our men ain't doing nothing but hustling and selling drugs or rapping. And I was going to let them know that that's false. The media is projecting that image. But the people like me, you, Uncle Hotep, who we in our own lanes, but we trying, we don't get no shot. And then when we go for the shot, they slit our throats on the paper. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give y'all an example. I'm not even going to put y'all in my business, but I'm going to give y'all an example. I'm not going to tell y'all how much my house costs. I'm going to tell you what, though. I had the money to buy my house, but I went to get a loan. Do you know they made me put 40% down on what my house was worth? And my house worth more than 6 zeros. And I ain't getting no 10, 20, 15%. You feel me? I put so much money down on my goddamn house, I'm a little underneath half of what it's like. And that was on for me to get it, for me to get the loan. That's how they're doing Black. On top of the fact, the underwriter didn't want to write it up. It had to go to 2 different supervisors. It was taking so long for me to get approved for the loan. The buyer put the house back on the market.
The seller.
Yes. because the banks wasn't trying to give me the loan. But this is the part of America don't nobody see. And I got the money, and I had the money. So it ain't no excuse. My credit was straight. Same thing with some other properties I tried to purchase. Had the money, got the money, showed them the money, showed them my taxes, showed them my bank statements. Oh, you can't do that. I tried to get, let's say items. I tried to get approved for 5 items. If you would have added up the prices of them items, it would have brought us to like 130, 140K. I got that. They told me I only could get approved for 1 item, come back in 6 months. That's how they doing me right now. So everything I'm doing, I'm paying out of pocket. Where everything y'all see me doing, ain't no, you heard the song, they ain't gonna give a nigga loans, they ain't gonna fund you. So that's what I was gonna go up there and speak to. And I was gonna let it be known. White people respect money. I got the money. Why I still don't got the respect? What's the problem? You ain't pulling me along, but I can't get the loan. So that's what I was gonna go up there and speak to. How the financial systems in America keep black people down, and then they act like they don't know what they're doing. And then they show the rest of the world, oh, these people are impoverished or they're not doing anything. But how far can we go when you literally lock the door and you locked us in a room we can't get out of? So that's what I was going to speak to. And I didn't even make it there because I was canceled as fast as I was signed on.
Canceled from uncanceled.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Hey, you spoke about self-sufficiency, and a lot of leaders, black leaders, have talked about self-sufficiency, like the Garvey, the Booker T types, but why is that so hard? Now I know the media is part of that, but why is that so hard of a message to get across to Black America? When you start preaching that self-sufficiency, like we can do this ourselves, it seems like we get a lot of pushback. For a message that should be, everybody should be accepting of it. It seems like we're the ones to get the most pushback from our message telling us that, hey, we got to do it ourselves. Why do you think we get that pushback?
Because everybody on the planet is parasites when it comes to us. It's just obvious. Nobody's nation, I don't care who you are, white, whatever. Your nation is futile if black people are not giving you our money. That's it. That's just the truth. Don't believe me? Start our own NBA and see what happened to the NBA. Start our own NFL and see what happened to the NFL. Start our own Gucci and see what happened to Gucci. If black people do not engage with white people are done economically. So it's like, why would you? That's not a good business move. If I was, well, let's be honest, because we always talk about putting each other in each other's shoes. Let's eliminate racism. If I was a white man and I was the owner of the NBA, the last thing I would have wanted was for Michael Jordan to go start his own NBA and take all the players. The last thing I would have wanted was for Kobe to start his own NBA and take all the players. So white people just need to be honest about that. White people just need to come out and say, we need y'all. Please deal with us. So we can still tell y'all no, but at least be honest about that. But my thing is, the problem is psychology. People don't understand how the mind works. And that's where we're losing at. We don't understand how your mind works. Your mind operates off your memories. And if you have more bad memories than you have good memories, then the image of yourself that your mind creates, you'll stay away from it. So if I tell one of y'all, your parents, your grandparents loved you and they was geniuses and they left you a fortune, you ain't gonna never stop trying to figure out where that's at, where that fortune is or who your grandparents is, because the memory is so good, your mind keeps searching for it. But if I tell you, you ugly and you black and your hair nappy and your brother weak and we used to rape your grandmama on a plantation and you ain't do nothing and you just stupid and we had to civilize you and you just a hut mud throwing nigga, you gonna get away from that. Why would you research your ancestors? Why would you research yourself? So you gonna go try to find a new self because your sense of the memory of your old self to you is not worthy. So this is how a lot of people get lost because they don't when they look at themselves from high school. Let's just deal with high school. Most niggas was lames in high school. So they don't want to even go back there. They don't even want to go back 10 years ago in their mind. They don't want to talk about how they didn't get the girl number that they liked. You know what I'm saying? How they got beat up in the hallway. Niggas don't want to go down memory lane like that. So they create a new self. You know what I'm saying? And they get away from that old self. Change their name, go out of state, become a whole nother person. So if we doing that based off of what happened in high school, imagine subconsciously what we doing based off of white people telling us who we are. So those are the two things against us. For one, white people have to keep us down because their economic infrastructure is dependent upon our engagement, for one. For two, they have to lie to us because if they tell us the truth, we're going to seek that out, and common sense would tell us we can do it again without them. So it's racism, but it's not. It's simply about, imagine a horse, right? Imagine if the horse realized, I don't have to let this nigga ride me. It's over for you. It's over. So you got to beat the horse and break the horse and all that because you got to ride him because you don't want to walk. Not saying our ancestors didn't do that, but you know what I'm saying. Imagine if the lion realized, oh, I can grab the key and turn the lock and get out. It's over for the zoo. So if you look at white people, they do the same thing in every business that they run. They find the most biggest, powerful, attractive species. Then they manipulate that species into believing that it cannot exist without their help. Then they capture that species, extort that species out his own life force, and then it's up to that species to some way, somehow, remind itself of who the fuck it is, and then rebel against this white man, to which this white man then has laws in place to where now you a criminal for no longer wanting to be a slave. If the lion in the zoo eat the zookeeper, they got to put the lion down. If a nigga in America say, I ain't doing that, and get it in with the police, they got to kill you now. You a criminal. So our job is to say, how do we escape an inescapable position? And that, I found the formula. You realize that you're not in an inescapable position. You just have a friend. And this is how I look at white people. I look at white people as that friend that your parents tell you that he ain't no good. He ain't no good. Don't you go to that party with that boy. And you go to that party and nigga, you never come back the same. That's how I look at white people. I look at white people as the deadliest handshake you can ever accept. The deadliest smile you can never accept. Because I know that me befriending you is befriending my own demise. And that's just the truth. That's how they've always dealt with us. They've always come with the smile, and they the most loyal enemy you'll ever have. And they'll gain your trust to the point where you feel comfortable enough to call that man your brother and call that man your friend. And they'll do everything that they should do in your face to win your loyalty. And that's how they get you. And then when you go to sleep at your friend Brad's house and you wake up, you're naked, and he done robbed you of your clothes, your jewelry, your history, and now he's looking at you like, who are you? Where are you over here? And he the one that invited you over here. Then he called 911, and you go to jail for trespassing, and he got your property, and it's his property now. So I understand the sweet trick of manipulation that this particular race of people like to do. And for me, I'm just straight up. I'd rather you say, nigga, I'm robbing you, and rob me. But don't think you're gonna smile in my face, shake my hand, and tell me to sign this contract. And now this contract has enslaved me, my kids, my grandkids, and my entire bloodline is, enslaved to this contract because you finessed me. So with that being said, CPAC, that's what I was going to speak at. That's what I was going to speak at CPAC about. And those are the points I wanted to get across. And just as you stated, Hotep, it definitely would have got spicy in there. But I don't mind that because that's what I'm built for. But some people need a reality check. And I think that white people have been doing what they do for so long that they went from realizing that they had evil intent to actually hypnotizing themselves into thinking that they doing us a favor. And that's just what happened. At one point in time, they used to think we gonna lie to these niggas and trick these niggas. That's the truth. And I want to say this before I go. White people never conquered black people. They tricked black people. Big difference. Big difference. So they went from consciously tricking us to unconsciously thinking that they're doing us a favor. So now we have to remind them, you're not doing me the favor. You actually doing me a disfavor, because by hanging out with you, it's not a benefit to me. By giving you my money, it's not a benefit to me. So I think we need to take that understanding across our community first, because we got a lot of people in our community we need to realize are not beneficial. But simultaneously, we need to take it through their community. And we need to let them know, looking them right in the eyes. If you don't show me what is truly, truly beneficial of me dealing with you, you need to go on about your business. Straight up. And that's just what it is.
I got a 2-part question for you.
Uh-huh.
Now, the white nationalists or supremacists, I don't even know what the fuck to call them, but their problem is they feel like they're grouped in with those that cannot be talked about. Now, the second part to the question was, you had that live debate on Instagram with the kid Anomaly. Do you remember that?
That was the white dude that got a little heated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he's Puerto Rican and not white. Huh?
I wouldn't call that. I said I wouldn't call that a debate. We was actually vibing. Then he just said something that made it go left, and it was like,
What'd he say? Do you remember?
Specifically, no. So I don't want to lie on him.
Right.
But he said something. He said something basically in regards to African history that wasn't true.
Okay.
And you know, the scholar in me was like, nigga, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you get away with that. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. But
so
yeah.
He was trying to make the same point I think the white nationalists was making, where they want to be differentiated with those that cannot be talked about, and those who cannot be spoken upon, like you said, control everything. So how do you create or bifurcate between the two, right? Like if they're the controllers, how can you say it's the white man's fault if they're the controllers, or are they white?
Well, we need to be clear on this. We only say the white man because that's what people, that's right. Standard. Right. Like how you call Chinese the yellow man.
Okay.
But if you want to be to the raw point, they are all Caucasians. Let's be clear on that. The Arab is genetically classified phenotypically as a Caucasian. So let's just be clear on this. You have 4 species on this planet. Negroids, which is us, Mongoloids, which are the yellow man, or Koreans, Chinese people, etc., Asians. Then you got Dravidians, which are not Indians, but people that live in India. Then you have Caucasoids. Now, Caucasoids are Europeans, British, Irish, Jews, all of them are Caucasoids. So we only say the white man because most people don't understand scientific jargon. But here's my thing. You cannot separate yourself from that which you are. You cannot do that. If you go become a blood and I go become a Crip and we die, the scientist is going to still genetically link us. He's not going to say this guy was not related to that guy because he was a gangbanger over here. So what white people need to realize is they don't have the right divinely. They got the right individually, but that doesn't make it a divine right. They don't have the universal right to create a name and then genetically classify themselves outside their species. You cannot do that. A Jew is not an ethnic term. It is not a genetic denotion. It is literally a religious title. A Christian is not a genetic. If I say I was talking to a Christian, and you would have to ask me, who were you talking to? Because it doesn't, you can't draw a picture in your mind's eye if it was a white person, a black person. I have to go into detail because it's just a title denoting a practitioner of a specific faith. It's not a racial title. So my thing even with the Jews is, how are you screaming hate speech for something that is not a genetic orientation? It's not. So if that's the case, gangbangers could start screaming hate speech. So this is what white nationalists need to realize. A bunch of other Caucasoids labeled themselves something that is completely made up and finessed you out of getting a piece of their pie. And now you mad at us because we seen you when y'all was together. Now we see you while the other party, basically this is what happened. a group of Caucasoids tricked a bunch of Negroids. But then a small group of them Caucasoids got so greedy, they finessed the rest of the Caucasoids. now the rest of the Caucasoids that got finessed is looking at us saying, don't be mad at us. We getting finessed too. And we looking at them saying, yeah, nigga, we know. Because when you was finessing us and the other party you got so greedy, they finessed you too. Now you want help. It's basically like somebody kick your door, 5 men kick your door, they rob you, and then 2 of them blow the other 3 head off. And one of them still living. And he's saying, save me. And you like, nigga, save you? What you mean save you, nigga? So that's basically what's happening. And I feel like the issue is this. Caucasians are not as intelligent as they think they are. And I'm not saying white people are stupid, but what I'm saying is they're not as smart as they think they are. And a lot of the things we arguing about in this country can simply be avoided if they actually understood science. You are a Caucasoid. That is a Caucasoid. Now, that's what it is. Now, if you want to give yourself a special label, cool. To divide yourself amongst your own people in regards to your beliefs, cool. But scientifically speaking, circulatory systemly speaking, you are a Caucasian. That's a Caucasian. If we go to Britain, those are Caucasians. If we go to Ireland, those are Caucasians. So if you have genetic origins connecting you to them Caucasus Mountains, you are a Caucasian. And you know, I'm not here to argue with people about the title about, you know, you want to be a Jew or white, whatever. That's linguistics now. And my thing is, I don't have to separate you from that which you are not separate from. Now, if you want to make an issue about it yourself, that's your individual right. But you don't have to force that on me. I look at white people as what they are, a part of the Caucasoid race. That is what you are. I'm a part of the Negroid race. Different gene expressions, you know, determine our phenotypes, but I'm still a Negroid. And so I think white people need to accept that and stop trying to step outside the confines of who they are, because a part of them don't accept themselves. Let's be honest about that. A part of them don't like their history. And basically, they are trying to escape their own bad memory and force you to remember something that never happened. And that's called bullying. When somebody walk up on you and say, I gave you that $1, right? And you be like, no, and they like, nigga, yes, I did. Now you feel me? You like, oh, if I don't say yeah, you're gonna beat me up. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I feel like white people doing. They like, well, all of us wasn't caught in the Caucasus Mountains, right? Like, no, yes, you were. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they're trying to bully us out of actual history. And I can't accept that. So if you're a white nationalist, I don't really care. That doesn't bother me. Be a white nationalist, but accept your history. If you a Jew, realize that you're lying to yourself. But if you want to lie to yourself, I don't care. But realize you are a Caucasian. You was in them Caucasus Mountains. And I'm in here, even the Bible, right? Most people don't know. I read the Bible front to back, the Torah and the Quran, and took notes and highlighted them. I'll go in there and get it right now. So when you read any of these books, what do they say? They say Noah's Ark landed in Mount Ararat. From there, the world was repopulated. Mount Ararat is literally the Caucasus Mountains. Go get a map. So white people genetically, historically, and even biblically tell you they came out them Caucasus Mountains. But when you say it to them, they act like it's hate speech or you want to be racist. So my main thing is, you know who you are. You know where you came from. You know what you stole. You know what you got, how you got where you are today. And don't try to act like I'm uncivilized for speaking that truth. And if that's going to be a problem, go ahead and get from amongst me anyway, because I'm not going to ever be anybody's friend to the point where I got to lie to myself about something that I know to be real, period. And it's not going to happen. So there we go.
Hey, a little change on the subject here. I think you said you have a 50,000 debate challenge or something like that. I guess your debate skills are evidently, great. Can you describe what makes you a great debater? What makes a great debater? What makes you a great debater? How did you come up and be this great debate person like that you are?
fighting for myself in the court of law, having to represent myself where my life was really on the line, and having to articulate myself under real life pressure, having to stay calm when my heart was actually really beating fast, and one wrong word to have me sent upstate for 7 years, 3.5 to 7 years. Actually having to represent myself truthfully when it did count, when nobody was there, when nobody was in the, see, people see young Pharoah now, but they didn't see me when I was 18 years old, 19 years old in the courtroom with thick stacks of legal papers, nobody in the crowd for me. You know what I'm saying? Advocating on my own behalf, getting told to go in the back, bullpen therapy, bringing me to court, sit me in a bullpen for 4 hours just to cancel my court date. They didn't see me when I was really fighting. I fought my case for so long. I fought my case for 2.5 years. By the time I got sentenced and went upstate, I was fighting my case for so long. I only had 11 months to do upstate. That's how long I was fighting my case. So people didn't really see the real young Pharoah, the 18-year-old man in the law library with murderers. And we know anything about the law library, ain't no young men in there. It's all old heads who trying to get out of jail. So what made me a great debater is the fact that when I had to articulate myself and present arguments on behalf of myself, my life really was on the line. And I had to stay composed. And I had to research even when I didn't feel like it. And when I was in a box and I still had to drop slips to go to law library. When I was hungry, ain't had no food, still had to read. And I basically never stopped fighting my case all the way till this day. I never stopped proving my case. And that ambition and that ferocity just translated over into knowledge to where once I get my case together and I know it's factual, it's an intellectual dragon that you got to defeat. And you're not going to defeat me because my juggernaut is on juggernaut. You feel me? So it's like what makes me a great debater is my loyalty to truth, my ability to stay calm under pressure, and my ability to think and to be able to recall facts based upon my argument and present them in the proper way. You know, I'm not a deceitful person. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. I don't put arguments together just to hear myself. You know, I don't get into debates just to, disgruntle people or grapple people. So what makes young Pharoah a great debater is I do legitimate research for one. You know, I'm not a what most of these niggas is. I'm not gonna go watch one video and try to repeat what I heard. I do legitimate research. For two, the pressure that I was forged under is not pressure that the average man is forged under. So, you know, when I know I'm right, you're not going to really defeat me. I'm going to keep going, even if it costs me my life. So that's what makes young Pharoah a great debater. Because once I get a hold of the truth, I'm not going to let it go. And I feel like most people are holding on to a lie that they don't really got a firm grip on because they're not too sure of under no pressure. I had to hold on to the truth under under super pressure. So, you know, that's what makes me a great debater. I was forged under fire. Other than that, you know, I don't know if the people at home heard you asking that and was expecting some magical answer, but that's the answer. And anybody can become a great debater. You just have to know what you're talking about and stand firm. And, you know, I'm going to give you one more jewel. It was an old timer who really put the fire in my chest. I was fighting my case, you know, and the police, they play dirty. Like the DA might call the jail and tell the COs to come in your cell and mess your legal work up. Like they play dirty. You feel me? Like dirty. Like imagine if you got a case law that's going to win your case and the CO come in there and tear it up while you at the joint. You know what I mean? Now you ain't got it no more. Then they play dirty. So I had to walk, like people just didn't see me when I was forging myself in the fire. But here's where I'm going with this. I'm in a prison. There was an old timer who peeped me, and I used to do things like write down the periodic elements tables chart and memorize it. Just random shit like that. At one point in time, I could literally repeat that to you front to back, element from the first to the 118th element. And I'm gonna get myself back there in a minute. I just need to settle down a bit. But that's the type of things I was doing. And it was an old timer. He asked me a question and I answered the question. And he was like, that's not right. And I was like, yes, it is right. And then he was like, no, it's not. And I was like, man, let me go get my book. But it was a little bit of doubt in me. You know what I'm saying? It was a little bit of doubt, even though I knew I was right. I was like, let me go get my book. And he stopped me. He said, hey. And I turned around. He said, don't you ever let nobody convince you you're not right when you're right. And from that point on, a nigga could kiss my ass. From that point on, 1 + 1 is 2. And I realized from that point on, he basically what I can say is he showed me something. He told me something by showing me without telling. And he showed me something that I've been going through my whole life. Because, you know, I don't want to sound cocky, but I've always been right my whole life. And the reason I've gotten in trouble in my, like, I didn't get in trouble the way normal people get in trouble. I've always been in trouble with the authority figure in my life. But that's always because unknowingly to me, I've been making you look stupid. I'm arguing with my English teacher. Like, you know, my teacher used to, you want to come up and teach the class? And I go up there and bust their ass. Now I'm in the office. You know what I'm saying? So he showed me something. And he showed me that all of these years, I kind of allowed people to suppress my light because I wasn't getting in trouble because I was doing wrong. I was getting in trouble because I was doing right. And him by doing that exercise with me, it brought back, it basically revived the person that died during my childhood. It revived the person that died as a teenager. And it let me know, damn, y'all out here really, the world is out here punishing people for being smart. And y'all out here punishing people for being intelligent. Mind you, I was going through that literally in the court. So, you know, those are the fires that molded me into what I am today.
I only got one more question because I know we promised an hour and a half. We're at an hour and 6 minute mark right now. I only have one more question. The term Semite, a lot of people throw that term around a lot. Can you define that for us and tell us who in the modern world today can be classified as a Semite, if any people can be?
If anybody was going to be classified as a Semite, it would be black people. And we always love to go to the Semitic languages, and they love to denote those as Indo-European languages. And here's the trick. Technically, those are Indo-European languages because Indo-Europeans translate them. But the language and the origin, two different things. Now, let's go to the Babylonians. Let's go to Sumeria, which is also connected to the Semitic language. Akkadian means what? Black-headed one. See, they don't want to tell you that. So them extraterrestrials and that whole culture over there literally called themselves black people. And they got their mythological infrastructure from Egypt. So here we have another classic case, right, of white people digging up black people's history and then saying it's theirs. Let's go to the Egyptian hieroglyphics, right? 20 years from now, if people like us didn't exist, white people will be able to say the hieroglyphs is a Semitic Indo-European language because they the ones who translated it. But that don't mean this is your stuff. You went over here to our stuff, turned it into what you wanted to mean, and then claimed it. And it's up to us to go over there and say, nah, this is what my great-great-great-great-great-grandmama said. So once again, we cannot get caught up in linguistics. And then I want to end here. And I want to debate. The English language is new. There's no such thing as an Indo-European language because there was no such thing as an Indo-European during them times. Even with the Jews. If these people saying they the Jews, there was no German and there was no Germanic or no Yiddish vernacular at that time. So how could you have spoken Hebrew when Hebrew is a hybrid alphabetical inventory of Germanic and Yiddish characters? Without German language, you don't have English or Hebrew. So let's just be clear on that. Were there Germans 10,000 years ago? No. Were there Yiddish speaking people 10,000 years ago? No. Were there anybody on the planet other than black people more than 6,000 years ago? No. So how are these 10,000, 20,000 year old civilizations rooted in white people when they weren't there? And it's simply because these excavationists and these, explorers and these scholars and these institutions are digging up our shit, translating it into them, and then presenting it to us as if it's them. That's it. So, there is no such thing as a Semitic language. The Phoenician alphabet is the newest alphabet on the planet, even though they act like it's old. And technically, it's not even as old as they say. We already had writing systems. We already had language arts. We already had that. So how can these civilizations, which clearly show us on them in our native tongue, belonged to somebody else who translated it. And all people have to do is make the connection. They took our language from us. The languages that they translating is the languages that they took from us. So those are the languages we have to relearn to speak again. These ancient languages, these glyph languages. And I like to say this, I said this before and I'm gonna say this again. If you wanna know how to catch white people in a lie, look for a glyph, a hieroglyph. A hieroglyph is not just exclusive to Egypt. A hieroglyph by definition is an image or message void of any grammatical text or vowels that depicts an idea. So we spoke with concepts, not with letters and text. Whenever you see a hieroglyph, a black person did it. If you see white people claiming anything where people spoke in glyphs, such as the Egyptians, the Mayans, the Olmecs, and the Nile, basically every damn body, you know we was there first, period. And it's impossible for white people to translate your understanding because they wasn't there. Don't believe me? The FBI has to figure out gang symbols how. You have to get a gang member to tell you what that meant. You can't just walk into no random hood and look on the wall and see a pitchfork and be like, oh, that means that. You don't know. So if white people wasn't here 30,000 years ago and we was chiseling ISIS on the wall, how you know what it said? You wasn't even here. So unless you got an Egyptian kidnapped somewhere that we don't know about, and you just interrogating them, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's how you doing it. You don't even know what this say. And it just, I'm gonna say this is my last piece. White people are lying. They're lying. The Bible has the word Ramesses in there. Let's get on these Jews again. The Jews say they were enslaved by Ramesses, right? Now the temple of Ramesses is a 20,000 something year old temple. Now the Jews say they built it, which means they would have to have built it 3,000 years ago, like they say, which is not true. But here's the thing. The word Ramesses allegedly wasn't translated off of a sarcophagus in Egypt until 1822 by Jean Champollion, who was not even a linguist and was from France. Now, why is this important? If the word Ramesses didn't become discovered until 1822, how did it end up in a book that was written in 1611? How did that happen? Somebody's lying. Somebody lying. And so I'm gonna just give y'all the game. White people made these stories up and then backdated them to make them seem older than they were. And since we so subscribe to monotheism, we believe it. But if we just take 2 seconds to say, wait a minute, what is the realistic probability that this shit happened based off what I can see? You'll see it's a lot. It's no way the Hebrews were enslaved by the Egyptians and built something that was already there. You can literally, listen here, 250 geologists, 250, that's a lot of goddamn geologists. 250 geologists physically tested samples of the structures in Egypt and confirmed that they are at minimum 30,000 years old. Now, why is this important? How did you build something 3,000 years ago underneath the guise of slavery that was here 30,000 years ago? You didn't build that. So you can't go to your grandma's house and say, we built my grandma's house when your grandma moved in this house before you was even born. So people have to realize white people are making this shit up and then putting older dates on it than it really is. And by you subscribing to the deity that's attached to these fictitious ass time periods, you are believing a fairy tale. And until you say, wait a minute, I don't believe a nigga spoke to you out the sky and said you was his chosen person. I don't believe you built something in a place where you can't even live today without dropping dead from sunburn. I don't believe that you did something today that you trying to figure out how is that. If y'all built the pyramids, why you trying to figure out how they was built? Wouldn't you know? Shit. And so if you was there, why you digging yourself up looking for yourself? We don't see white people in Europe digging up them old ass dusty Queen Elizabeth people because you know they there. So here's the thing. If you were honestly involved in the ancient world, you would not be looking for something that you buried your goddamn self. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. I done buried a lot of shit. And I don't go looking for it because in my mind, I know, okay, I know that's in that yard. I got to hit the fence and I got it in the yard. I know it's there. I don't go there and check every damn day and look for it. So their behavior alone lets you know somebody being sneaky and somebody lying about something. and they don't want us to realize they are trying to steal our story. White people should be, listen here, Caucasians need to be charged with identity theft on a global scale, period. That's it. And if we're not going to charge them with identity theft, they need to, at minimum, go ahead and get the fuck away. That's it. That's it. And that's just the truth. And I'm going to end right there.
Hey, can I ask you a real quick question?
Come on.
Now, you just said you were surprised about the amount of white people that follow you and listen to you and stuff like that. Matter of fact, I think I heard of you from some of my white followers. You know what I'm saying? How do you explain, in knowing that, and you're highly critical of them, as we witnessed for this hour and a half, how do you explain that? How do you explain that, a lot of them are, enamored with your speech and a lot of them are your followers?
Because a lot of them keep it real too. Okay. It's like me, if a white person tell me black people be selling drugs and just senselessly murdering each other, I'm gonna be like, you goddamn right. What you want me to say? I'm not gonna be like, don't you ever in your life. Like, the truth is the truth. And people will be surprised, honestly, how many white people know the truth. They just want to see if you know it. They just want to see how much game you up on. They want to know, let me look this nigga in his eyes and see what he identify as. And that's gonna let me know how far I could go. So I ain't gonna out nobody. Like I said, I ain't never told on nobody. But you would be surprised how many white people say, don't tell them I said it, but you're exactly right. You would be surprised how many white people say, hey, you didn't get this from me, but here's a document my uncle was in the Air Force. So you would be surprised how many white people say, nigga, you finally found out we've been lying to you all these years. That's basically what's happening. Nigga, yeah, you got us. You know what I'm saying? You found out. Okay, the joke's up. But here's the thing. Do everybody else know? You know what I'm saying? It's basically come down to this. I fucked up, but I want to see how far you are aware of that I fucked up. That's basically how white people deal with me. Nigga, you caught me, but how far do you know I went? And I'm gonna let you know, I know you went very motherfucking far. Very far. Very far. Out the atmosphere. But like it ain't hate speech. It ain't none of that. It's just the truth. Y'all robbed us and y'all tricked us. And we know you did that. But the civilized frequency in me and the discipline in me is so strong. I'm not just gonna go outside and kamikaze. I'm gonna just rebuild, because that which was will always be. And that which I had before I will have again. And that which I created before I can create again. So you stole something from me that not only I'm gonna take back, I can take it back by recreating it for myself to prove that you took it in the first place. So, that's how I deal with Caucasoids. And it's no pun intended, but I believe I have a different creator from them. I don't believe that the entities that constructed the blueprint of my DNA is related to them in any kind of shape, form, or fashion, and I deal with them as if they're an alien species, because that's what they are. And, you're not going to deceive me like that.
Do you think we could live in harmony with them?
We can live in harmony with anybody who wants to live in harmony. The question is not can we, the question is why the fuck they ain't chilled out yet? That's the question. Because we live in harmony with white people. Let's be clear. If we wasn't living listen here, if black people acted every time we really felt some type of way about white people, we'd genocide their ass. Let's be clear on that. Y'all, white people really don't take into consideration how angry they make us and how much we say, you know what? That's not right. I'm not going to do it. Let's be clear on that. When we watch the news and we see police brutality, you lying to yourself if you ain't tell yourself, I'm going to fuck one of their ass up. You lying. Be real. But what do we tell ourselves? No, that's not civilized. And we're a very disciplined people. We don't get enough credit for that. So my thing is, the question is not can we, because we're doing that. The question is, why are they not accepting harmony? Why are y'all not sitting the fuck down? Why, no matter what y'all do to us and we show y'all we're a civilized people, do you still destroy everything you touch? Why is you fucking up the water? Why is you fucking up the air? Why is Bill Gates trying to block out the sun? Why is y'all cloning motherfuckers? Why is y'all sacrificing kids? Why the fuck every time I turn around, the craziest shit that's going on in the world is being done by you? Why you can't? Why is y'all bad? They like some badass kids that just will not sit the fuck down. And then if you whoop their ass, CPS gonna come. So it's like, why? Like the question is, why are white people the way they are? That's the real question. Why can't white people get along with any species? It's not about just black people. Let's take black people off the planet. Black people don't exist. We all go extinct. Y'all motherfuckers still hunting animals into extinction. You know what I'm saying? You're still fucking up the earth. Like it's not even us. It's just them. So me personally, you don't have to, this is my belief. If the Jews can say they're the real Jews, I can believe that. I believe white people were genetically engineered by extraterrestrials to conquer the planet. That's what I believe. You don't have to subscribe to that. I do, because there's no other excuse for listen, if you was an alien and you came to this planet and you seen what was happening, you would say this race of people is a destructional ass race. That's what you would say. You would say, damn, they killing everything, poisoning everything. Big pharma, that's biochemical warfare. Television, that's mind control. You're raping motherfuckers. You the least sexually disciplined. You having orgies, Pornhub, all this crazy chaotic shit. You would say this race right here is a fucking abominable race. That's what you would say. If you was an alien and somebody said, go study planet Earth and show us the most undisciplined race, you would come back and say, this white motherfucker right here, this nigga created Greek shit, porn, pedophilia, Hillary. It would be white people. It wouldn't be us. So my thing is, white people gotta really research, why are we so destructional? Why do we really destroy everything? Why do we get burnt by the sun? Are we natural? Are we supposed to be here? Are we from this planet? That's the question they gotta ask. I feel like the burden of proof is not on us. We proved our truth. We know we can prove who the fuck we say we are. The burden of proof is on them to prove who the fuck they say they are. And I'm gonna end right here. White people say they were sent by God. That's all we know. We was in the jungle one day beating drums and dancing and hooga hooga. And then white people walked up one day with a book and said that God sent them with that book. Now, the God, we know the God ain't real. We know that. But what we don't really know is who really sent you. Who really sent you? If every black person in the world right now pause and look the white man right in his eyes and say, nigga, no games, no jokes. Where the fuck you really come from and what is your intentions with me? See what he said. I ain't gonna give you the answer. See what he say. See if he tell you where you from. Where you from? Ask him. Ask him. Let's get on CNN and ask white people, you know what? Don't use the Bible. Don't use none of that. Tell me where you come from and what are you doing on this planet? See what they say. Okay, yeah, okay. They might fuck around and tell you they're aliens. I believe white people are aliens. That's what I believe. I believe that wholeheartedly in my heart. I believe our memory was wiped and it's coming back. And it's like, hold on, nigga. No, I don't remember that. Like that's not how that happened. You feel me? It's basically like if I kidnap you and I bust you in your head and you go into a coma and you come out, you don't remember your name. Now I could tell you anything. I could tell you, nigga, you tricked and put yourself in the coma. Really, I did it. But then one day something happens and you start to say, hold on, nigga, I remember I had a mama. I remember I had a dad. I remember this shit. And I'm sitting here telling you, nah, Hotep, you crazy. You out of your mind. Nigga, you ain't crazy. You remember, nigga. So black people just got to remember. We just got to pause and say, hold on. I remember when I used to rule this motherfucker. What the fuck happened? How did I get a job? How did I at McDonald's? How did you go from building pyramids to working at fucking Chick-fil-A? Who did that? You feel who did that to you? And we need to ask these people where they come from. And no, and do that. Huh?
How does that fit in with your theory? Because you said black people have extraterrestrial DNA. So how does it fit with that theory?
Perfectly. Because if we got it, we know they got it. So the question is, I know I'm connected to extraterrestrials. The question is, what extraterrestrials are they connected to? And what is the intention of those beings? We know the intentions of our beings was to self-actualize and evolve the planet in harmony with nature. That was our intention. So since I know for a fact I got ET blood in my veins, I know that white man got some. But the question is, what ET? What God? What devil? Because we ain't from the same God, and we don't got the same. We didn't even have a devil. We didn't even have a concept of what the devil was. So like I said, I feel like the creator of white people is what is evil? That's benevolent, right? Or malevolent? Which one?
Malevolent. Malevolent. Yeah.
Malevolent. I feel like the creator of the Caucasoid species is a malevolent being who used them to conquer the planet Earth for its own agenda. That's what I feel like. I feel like we all come from some kind of creator. Just like I'm in here, the Bible say what? God said, let us make man in his own image. Before it was God, it was Elohim. Elohim literally means many gods. So now let's go to the original verse before it was translated. Many gods said, let us make man in our image. Who the fuck is those many gods? Who is those many gods? So we need to ask white people, where the fuck is your God? Go call his ass. Tell him to come down here and ask him what the fuck is going on, because it's not my God. He ain't never in my favor. He don't never do me no favor. He don't never come when I call him. So basically, we've been spiritually tricked into worshiping the incorrect deity, and we've been ushering that deity into this paradigm. And that's another show we can go into about how we pass by a black hole and the consciousness of us is being put. It's a whole nother thing I can go into. But long story short, white people, y'all know who the fuck y'all is and where y'all come from. And you can tell your God I said it, because you know who the fuck I am and where I come from.
I love it. I love it, man. Oh,
yes,
you want to
sir.
close this out?
Hey man, thanks for coming through. Greatly appreciated. I learned a lot. It was a wild conversation, educational and inspirational conversation. I don't know if you have any words you want to say to our Patreon members, but feel free to go ahead and close this out.
Don't be scared of the truth, y'all. Don't be scared of that truth. Don't be scared. If you fear the truth, your mind is going to automatically distract itself from what it fears, even if you got to tell yourself a lie in order to not to focus on that thought. It's like being scared of the dark. The first thing you think of is, oh, the boogeyman is here. And after that, you immediately start lying to yourself to make yourself feel better. And whatever you tell yourself in the dark to get through it is cool if it helps, but that don't mean it's true. So you cannot, you can place fear in any other area, but don't you place no fear on that truth, or your mind is always going to guide itself away from it. Don't fear the truth, tackle it. If it hurt, accept it. If it don't apply, let it fly. Shout out to this platform. Shout out to y'all two brothers. Thanks for having me. Shout out to y'all Patreon audience. And I appreciate everybody here, because I assume and believe we are all here in quest of the truth. And if you are not black and you're watching this, let me say this. I'm not here to disgruntle you, to upset you, to make you say, I'm never watching Hoteps Jesus and I'm going to Hoteps. I'm not here for you to say that. I'm here for you to say, you need to be realistic about where you might really have came from and what the hell your original agenda on this planet may have really been. For example, we know Bloods and Crips originally were to protect the community, but they're not doing that shit now. So same thing with white people. You might not be doing what you used to do 1,000 years ago to that extent, but you need to be honest about what were you doing 1,000 years ago? Where did you come from? Because those are the things that y'all keep in secret. And those are the things you're not telling the public in them lodges, and y'all think we don't know, but I know everything. And so I wanted to put that out there. This shit is about awakening the consciousness of the people. And if we're going to talk about life on other planets being diverse, how the fuck we going to talk about it's as above, so below. You can't talk about nobody's house until your house is in order. You can't talk about no other community till your community is in order. We can't talk about life on no other planets till we talk about the life that's on this goddamn planet. And we need to talk about it. And that's what I do. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me. And salute.
Salute.
All right, man. Peace out. Appreciate it.